Welcome home, girls. So today I wanted to have a discussion, but I want to start off with emotional freedom technique affirmations for women of color on Indigenous Peoples Day. I had no plans on doing this, so it's all over the place, but I feel very, very, very pressured by the ancestors to get this out. So here we are doing things not scheduled, but let's go anyway, okay? Not my will, but you know the rest. Okay. So for emotional freedom technique, you will follow my gestures, and also you can repeat the affirmations, or you could just listen to them as you do the tapping. You'll gently start in the middle of the forehead. Even though I carry the inherited weight of intergenerational trauma and systemic stress, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. You're going to go to the side of the eye. Even though I feel the constant draining pressure of systemic racism and the identity erasure in my life and in my community, I choose to be gentle with myself and commit to my healing. You're going to go underneath the nose. Even though I recognize the sacrifices and stress carried by my ancestors and the high stress in my community, I am ready to release this burden and anchor myself in my own power. We're going to go to the chin. I release the need to carry the emotional burden of the past, and I deeply and completely accept myself. I'm going to go to the collarbone. I am deeply connected to the resilience of my lineage, and I deeply and completely accept myself. You're going to tap your wrists together. My identity is valid, beautiful, and a source of incredible strength, and I deeply and completely accept myself. We're going to go to the top of the head. I am breaking the cycles of stress and trauma, not for me alone, but for all who came before and all who will come after. And I deeply and completely accept myself. You can end with the affirmation saying, I create a sanctuary of safety within my own body and my own mind. Alrighty, so welcome home, girls. Welcome home to Good Girl Holistic, a sanctuary to heal, to learn, and to grow. We are a trauma-sensitive, evidence-based, and inclusive approach to transformation of your beautiful mind, your beautiful body, and your beautiful soul. My name is Elise, and I'm the founder of Good Girl Holistic. And today I know you hear a lot about decolonizing the mind, but today I want to focus on decolonizing the soul, which is essentially decolonizing our spiritual practices and our spiritual belief systems, which is such a touchy topic. So for those who do practice Abrahamic and monotheistic religions, this is not to create separation, but to create unity and to create enlightenment around a very, very sensitive topic. But enlightenment means truth. And so everything that I am providing today is nothing but facts and factual statements that are pretty much a hard pill to swallow, and why a lot of people do a lot of spiritual bypassing, because it's just hard for them to accept that everything that they once believed in may not be healthy for one, for their mind, for their thought process, for them to be independent, and it may not contribute to them having emotional freedom, mental freedom, and essentially financial freedom, so, and health and wealth and all sorts of things. So it's connected. It all is interconnected to each other. So Yeah, so we're healing spiritual wounds and returning back to the feminine principles. I'm going to be looking here because I want to stay on topic and stay focused. So, the impact of indigenous communities spiritually, you can consider this deconstruction framework from my point of view. Again, this is the work that I have done, and as a what I feel as a light worker I've been called to do for my life work, is to help young women of color specifically, help do this type of work and guide them into their own understanding and spiritual growth and enlightenment, and healing them mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually, which is creating a holistic young lady. All right, so for indigenous communities, spirituality is deeply intertwined with land, language, and community. Colonizers and missionaries viewed these holistic beliefs systems as savage, pagan, or primitive, and sought to replace them with Abrahamic monotheistic religions. This was not a passive process that was created. It was an aggressive campaign that included forced religious conversion. Christian missionaries actively worked to convert indigenous peoples, often using coercive creative tactics. They told them their gods were false and their ceremonies were devil worship. Targeting sacred spaces and practices, colonizers desecrated and destroyed sacred sites, from burial grounds to ceremonial grounds, to undermine our spiritual connection to the land. Traditional ceremonies, languages, and healing rituals were often outlawed and suppressed. Hidden and stolen doctrines in ancient Kemet Africa, previously known as the Black Land, already obtained literature documenting virgin births, immaculate conceptions, which predated and influenced later religion. So I'm going to read that again. So in ancient Kemet Africa, previously known as the Black Land, so Africa was previously known as Black Land, already had literature that was documenting virgin births, immaculate conceptions that predate and influence later religions. And that loss of literature and events like the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, which was intentionally destroyed, has made it more difficult to fully document this historical connection. Creating residential boarding schools starting in the late 19th century, indigenous children were forcibly removed from their families and sent to government and church-run residential schools. The stated goal was to kill the Indian and save the man. At these schools, children's hair was cut, their traditional clothing was replaced with uniforms, and they were punished for speaking their native languages or practicing their spiritual traditions. Because they seen their spiritual traditions and practices as devil worship. So a lot of times you hear today that even people who have obtained and which me previously, before doing the deconstruction work, we all have taken on, especially being raised in the church, especially being raised in the Black church, we all have acquired and taken on that Western ideology, because that's what we were taught from generation after generation after generation. So you'll hear a lot of times Black and brown communities, when we do yoga, when we do meditation, our ancient spiritual practices, they deem them as demonic. Well, that ideology comes from a not so good place. Let's just say that, right? Okay. This system assault created generational trauma, leading to the erosion, of cultural identity, the loss of traditional knowledge, and a profound sense of disconnection from one's heritage and ancestors. And so today I just wanted to provide that quick little framework of what the feminine principles actually were before being forcefully given monotheistic religions, which are stemmed in politics, war, and theocracy. And if you just take a look around and be honest, you would say, oh my God, we are literally still in war, politics. Everything current day is all about war, theocracy, and politics. It's truly what they switched from us being a matriarchal society to now a patriarchal society that stem in those three things. So for Good Girl Holistic, our dedication to interrupting the cycle of systemic stress, cultural erasure, and intergenerational trauma healing for historically underserved women of color is an everyday task, an everyday focus. Okay. It's our job. It is what I do. It is what I will never go back to corporate so I can do this work. And what I believe is going to create collective healing globally. So we combine evidence-based clinical therapy with essential body-based practices like yoga, meditation, breathwork, and sound healing, which is just revitalizing the ancestral wisdom that lives in our DNA. So if that work aligns with you, and if you want to be a part of a community that helps you have a understanding and guides you into your spiritual awakening, guides you into healing, if you feel like you definitely are affected by the impacts of colonization still, right? Because your family's spiritual belief systems are aligned with those monotheistic religions, and you're a little afraid of coming out of that knowledge and information, and afraid to gain wisdom that is eternal, and that you will gain from doing these practices in a healthy, supportive, and loving, safe space, then we're the girls. We're your girls. We're your girls. And so, especially me, I'm your girl. Okay. So I thank you, and yourself thanks you for showing up for your self-care practice today. Again, my name is Elise. I'm the founder of Good Girl Holistic. And if this aligns with you, please like, share, comment, and really share this information with a friend. And let's create community. I'm really going to start showing up in our community more. I now know exactly where we're headed, for me to be able to move accordingly to what I feel my ancestors are leading me to do, which is creating a long-term safe space for marginalized girls that intersectionally marginalized, from LGBTQ to Black, brown, and indigenous women. So I love you guys. I love you deep. And I'll see you back here soon. Bye.